And once again, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to this webinar. Although it was a short notice, but I readily accepted it. And once again, I would like to thank you for inviting me. It's a very important topic and very close to my heart, myself being a woman, and we understand what are the issues involved and how we can address these issues. So I will try to sum up this. See, when I grew up as a kid, I always was told that men is for the farm and women is for the hearth. We grew up in that culture, and now we need to change that saying. And we need to really emphasize on this that really, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate the whole nation. It's an African proverb, but it is very apt for all of us to think about it and ponder on this. If you look at the global perspective among of women in science, particularly, I mean, this has been as per the UNESCO report, then which says that women account only for 28% of the researchers across the world. So it is a matter of concern for each one of us, is how we can increase the number of women in science, and as we move higher in the ladder, we need to increase. But what is happening? It is, in fact, there is a seen a decrease. So, looking at the women in STEM at a global level, if you look at uh, this slide, it just gives you a fairly good idea. Looking at women in science per se, I mean, there's not much increase across. You may see, like in well-developed countries like North America and Western Europe, it is nearly 32%. And when we talk about looking at Europe, Central Europe, it's not very great, just 39.5%. Sub-Saharan region, 31%. East Asia and Pacific, 23.4%. And you go to South Asia, it's really not encouraging. You may find the Central Asia, but these are the countries like Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan. They are very small countries, and then you see there's a big number of women in science per se, which really doesn't look like. Now, looking at women in science, if you look at women make only 14% of the 2.8 lakh scientists, engineers, and technologists employed in R&D institutions. Although India tops the world in producing female graduates in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but it ranks 19th in employing them. So it's a matter of concern for all of us. Although women constitute only 15% of the faculty position in science. And if we look at the recent World Economic Forum gender report, it says it will take nearly 257 years to eliminate the prevailing gender gap in workforce globally. And India ranks 112th in the global gender index in 2020. Really, it's a matter of concern for all of us to ponder and to think as how we can tackle this. Although we always say women is a 50% of our human resources are women, and they contribute. They're a major strength to the socio-economic development of the country. Looking at the general statistics, if we look at the total enrollment, it has been estimated to be 37.4 million, with 19.2 million male and 18.2 million female. And females constitute nearly 48.6% of the total enrollment. It was in 2018 and 2019 against 47.6% in 2017-18. Although we can see some marginal increase, but that's not enough. And at the same time, looking at the gross enrollment ratio in higher education in India is 26.3% as per the All India Survey of Higher Education data, and which was calculated among the age group of 18 to 23 years of age. And this gross enrollment ratio for male population is 26.3, and for females it's 26.4, which is not much different. And looking at the student enrollment in different courses is at undergrad level, the highest number of students are enrolled in arts, humanities, social science courses, followed by science, which is accounting for 16.5%, engineering, technologies, and commerce. At PhD level, we see maximum number of students are enrolled in science stream, followed by engineering. But on the other hand, at the post-graduation level, maximum students are enrolled in social sciences also. Now, this graph just gives you a idea about gender distribution in different courses, starting from undergrad. If you look at the male percentage is higher at every level by and large, especially more you'll see in the diplomas. You know what, when I was a student, even when we talk about, getting into these diplomas and things like that, nobody at home would encourage us to go for, no, you go for the BSc. BSc is better than these kind of diplomas. It doesn't lead you anywhere. Probably that time the people were not aware, or and it's one of the reason is the lack of the information among our seniors who were guiding us. So, looking at this graph, it clearly tells you wherever you see more people, more male candidates in these, especially in the diploma courses, PhD level also, I mean, you see more number of male percentage compared to the female. So, what could be the reason for this? That is what we need to understand. This just tells you how many students are registered when we talk at BSc level. 46.80 lakh students are enrolled for the BSc program. Here you see there are more females, 51.7% vis-a-vis the male candidates, which is 48.3. Then when you talk about MSc, again here the more number of female candidates are here at MSc level and compared to males. And then compared to that, then when you talk about the PhD, it is decreased. So what is the reason why when we have a good number of female candidates at post-graduation level, suddenly their number decreases? There are many reasons for this. I would like to share with you. Even when I was a student, when I did my PhD, and next step obviously was that I want to do my postdoc and go abroad. The first question my mother said, no, you first get married and then do whatever you want to do. So this is where the problem comes even at home. There is not much encouragement even from the family, though our mothers may want to support, but the system, the social fabric is such that the women students are really not encouraged, first of all, to go out of home. Then you go to the, I wanted to go to the hostel and there was a lot of reservation from my grandmother. Oh, no, how can she go from Kashmir to Bombay? I was in BRC for my PhD work. So there was a lot of resentment. And I was from a urban background. Now imagine, now we have the maximum more people living in the rural backgrounds. There, this resentment is much more seen. Probably one reason could be illiteracy, poverty, meeting the two ends of a day when you are not able to meet your daily requirements. So you really don't think that giving education to a women child or a girl child is a priority vis-a-vis their male child. So this is very important. We need to think about this. And looking at this pyramid, you see even at the primary school level, there are illiteracy could be one major reason, or poverty is, especially when we talk about the rural sectors. When we go to the secondary school level education, again the same issues come. And then as we go, then the college or the university, then you may branch into different sciences. They may prefer to go to arts, and then many times you don't need to stay long. This was one of the reason also, people do not send their girls to science streams, because we had to have practicals, and then practicals would take more time, and those students who were studying the social sciences, they would be back home early vis-a-vis those who are in the sciences. So there were different issues at every level are there, and I don't know why they're all for the women child, girl childs. Then as we go higher to the MPhil or the PhD, then the moment you do your post graduations, your parents are after you. Oh no, it's a right time to get married and get into the family life. And then, but there are people. I mean, we need to provide an enabling ecosystem to these meritorious, this good uh, women, young women who really want to do science, as well as they want to manage their family life, but there needs to be support from the family. That is very, very important. Then of course, when you go higher, then jobs, of course, as Dr. Gunasekaran has said, that there is a glass ceiling at the higher level, and we really need to break it. So what are the reasons for the decline in the women? There are, you say that this is a pipe is leaking, but I think this leaking pipe is at every step. This the first and the foremost thing is that social conditioning. It's very, very important to have the social conditioning, our family, our neighbors, their perspective about women going to science or going for a higher studies need to change. And especially when it comes to, the first thing is after a certain age, when a girl reaches a certain age, so the parents, the in and around people, they will ask you, oh, you have to get your daughter married, and she's a marriageable age. And then once a girl gets into that marriage, matrimonial alliance, and then it's it's very difficult for her to balance the dual roles if there is no family support. Then there is a time commitment, and work pressures are there at different levels. And one of the reasons is also, lack of suitable jobs after PhD. You'll see many new schemes have come up, but still, because the numbers are big, so we need to cater at a much higher level. Career breaks in education and employment. That's also there, because once you get married, maybe if you're in the same city, where change in the job is very another issue. Because what is happening if a girl gets married and then the spouse is in another city or another town, it is always expected that the girl or the woman has to leave her job and join her spouse. It cannot, I mean, if you think otherwise, so it is not acceptable to the society. So there are issues at that level also. So the change in job location, she only has to bear and deal with it. And then there are biases. It could be conscious, it could be unconsciously also. The moment you see a women driver driving, although she must be driving very nicely, the fellow driver behind her say, oh, this is a woman driving. So he because you always get opinionated with these biases towards the women. They feel that they cannot do a good job, but that's not the case. So, and then very important is you need to have these scientific role models at an early stage. That really makes a big difference to our lives. I'll share my experiences in this in subsequent slides with you. So if we want an increased women's participation in higher education and employment, we need to help them. We need to do mentoring. We need to mentor them at different levels. We need to provide an enabling ecosystem to provide promote a work-life balance. It's very, very important. We need to give them flexi timing. See, as you see these days, today we are meeting virtually. Had this pandemic not happened, it would not have given us an opportunity to explore, are there other options we can try other than, working, doing things physically. So where there is a will, there is a way. This has been proved in this pandemic era. And I think you will agree with me. We are more proactive than what used to be we used to do physically. So this is very important. We need to provide flexi timing to the women scientists or women uh, who are working. provide suitable leadership programs. It's very important. There is a constant learning uh, during our trajectories, during our course, because that adds new dimensions to our thought process, and it helps us in evolving as a better scientist, as a better human being. And there is a need to create new opportunities, because as the more and more women are coming forward in the science, in STEM, then we need to have more and more opportunities, so that they get absorbed at appropriate positions. And most important things, once they're doing good, we need to appreciate that besides all odds they are doing good, and we need to recognize their contribution in the form of awards and rewards, which is very important. Yeah, I thought this I would share with you, because I found it so apt. Professional path for both the genders. See, everybody has hurdles in the life. There's no, it's not a smooth path for everyone. But looking at this cartoon, it gave me an encouragement to show it here. I thought it is really true. Whosoever has made it has put in a lot of thought in this. If you look at the male colleagues, they also have hurdles. It's not that it's a smooth trajectory for them, but when you compare with the women, I mean, there's no comparison I would see to my knowledge. It looks like, I mean, it's the same distance, but look at the hurdles a woman has to encounter right from the beginning. So, what is needed at our side? Do we really need equality or equity or more? Looking at it, this is really the reality. I mean, no matter what, women are looked as a minority community in all spheres of life, that we all agree. So, what we need, yes, to begin with, yes, equality is very, very important uh, for both the genders. And at the same time, we need to be fair to women, which is important. So that, but among all, it is very, very important, if you really want that there is a gender parity and there is a equality, we need have a liberation. We need to liberate this, and we need to work towards fixing the system and what are the root causes of inequality. In fact, we are still struggling in the parliament also. The 33% women, the seats should be reserved for the women parliamentarians. Things are happening. So I thought I'll share some opportunities with you, what are available, especially for the women scientists and the young students, because there are many, since it was related to the women program, so I thought I'll share with you some of the opportunities. See, there are various schemes of different departments, be it a Department of, Women and Child, DBT, DST, CSIR. There are different schemes available for women, young girls, to the scientists who have developed, established their careers. We have this, you all must be aware about this Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Sarva Shiksha Andolan. So that is there. Then there is a Science Olympiad Foundation who supports these girls from the class of 1 to 10 years, and they give a scholarship of 5,000 rupees. Especially these are for the girl children of poverty, like under below poverty line, like 15,000 per month salary. Then we have CBSE's Udan program. DST also has Jyoti program, and where they engage this young, budding and very intelligent, sharp young girls. They have these DST has tied up with many industries like IBM, Ernst and Young, to support these young, promising female students and who want to go to the next level. Then there are programs like L'Oreal supports young women with science scholarships. DST has a Kiran program for young scientists. Even Department of Biotechnology has a major program this was envisaged only when we realized that, women, as I mentioned earlier, have to take a break because of their obvious reasons of, starting their families. And then after 2 or 3 years or 5 years, or as the case may be, they want to come back to the mainstream of the science. So DBT came up with a program that's called, this is called a Biotechnology Career Advancement and Reorientation Program. That's in the short, it's called BioCare, where the main objective is to build capacities for women scientists employed full-time in the universities or in R&D labs, who are employed or unemployed and want to come back to the research, and they want to apply for the research projects. So this scheme is for the women, for such women up to the age of 55 years. And but the catch is that it should be your first research grant, and we give a research grant of 60 lakhs and a fellowship and a manpower. And if a women is unemployed, then we give a fellowship per month. And if a women scientist is employed, she gets 10,000 rupees over and above her salary. We give a research grant and for a period of 3 years. There are many other schemes of DBT for young students, irrespective of their gender. For example, when you do your MTech or PhD, and you're interested in doing your PhD, so first thing you need to have a research fellowship. So for this, DBT has a junior research fellowship. We advertise this every year in the national dailies, and the details are also on the website. And the next exam will be in May, somewhere in May, June, and so that you can apply. And once you qualify this exam and come in the merit list, you can avail this for doing your PhD at any of the institutions across the country. And this fellowship is given for 5 years, 2 years as a JRF and 3 years as 2 years as a JRF and 3 years as an SRF. We have an interesting program that's called the Corona Program for Scholars. This is for the scholars who are in the BTech second year or MTech first year, or even the BSc students can apply for this. Here we send you, it's a paid fellowship to various universities in the US for a 6 to 8 week internship program, where you get introduced to the nuances of research in a particular area you have proposed. This is a very good program. You can apply for this. And if you have done a PhD and you are looking for an associateship, this is for the students. We have this research associateship. We advertise this twice a year. This program is being implemented through IISc Bangalore, and we usually have a call in October and March. If any of you are interested, you can apply. The details are on DBT website. We have an interesting program. This may be of interest to you. This is called IIT Mumbai and University of Minakshi. It's a joint PhD program. So what you do here, you need to apply to IIT Mumbai. They select the students, and part of your PhD, like 1 or 2 years, you do in the Monash University, and we provide the fellowship for this. This is over and above the normal fellowships. We give a higher fellowship here, and then you get a joint degree by the University of Monash and IIT Mumbai. We also have an interesting program that's DBT Heidelberg Graduate Program on Big Data Research. If anybody is interested in big data research, we have a joint PhD program with Heidelberg, so you can apply for this. Recently, we have come up with the MK Ban Young Researchers Fellowship. It is like a DBT Research Associateship. Here, the purpose is that we want our young scientists, instead of going abroad for a postdoc, want to retain them back in India, and so that they can do excellent research in the country. We also have other schemes like that, as Innovative Young Biotechnologist Award. That is for the scientists who have just done their PhDs and are looking for the positions. They can apply for this award. If you have a permanent position, you get 1 lakh per year as a award money and a research grant of nearly 50 to 60 lakhs. But if you are on a soft position, that means without a permanent job, you get a fellowship amount of 75,000 rupees per year and a research grant. So I didn't list many schemes here because I thought I'll talk about all these schemes which are more relevant to you at the student level. But it's very, very important to have role models in life. So I thought I'll share some of the role models which Dr. Gunasekaran also talked about. If you look at Anandi Gopal Joshi, way back in 1861 to 1887, she was one of the first Indian women to be qualified doctor to practice Western medicine. So you can imagine at that time how much support she would have got from her parents, from her mother, from her all the relatives, so that she could make it. Then you know Janki Amal, was a famous botanist and worked on medicinal plants. Dr. Kamla Soni, biochemist, the first Indian woman to get PhD in science, way back in 90s, early 90s. Anna Mani, the famous physicist, and was who pioneered in the meteorological instrumentation. You might have heard about you heard about Dr. Maharani Chakravarti, Dr. Gunasekaran mentioned about she was a very renowned biotechnologist. Dr. Darshan Ranganathan, an organic chemist. Dr. Rajeshwari Chatterjee, a professor and a scientist, who was the first women engineer for contributing towards microwave engineering. I mean, thinking about these things have happened in the past, but we need more of Rajeshwari Chatterjee's, more of Maharani Chakravarti's, more of Ashima Chatterjee. We need many, many more people. And I know we have a lot of capable young women, but they need the direction, they need the support, they need the opportunities. We all, if we can work together, we need to help. Every individual counts. And look at her. She was such a Charu Shrestha Chakravarti, known for her contribution in the chemistry. Mangla Narlekar, a famous mathematician. You heard about Indra Hinduja, who was the first gynecologist with the credit to have a first test tube baby. Dr. Manju Sharma, our former secretary of the Department of Biotechnology. There are many, this is a few I have listed here. There are many, many more. You heard about Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, who was a administrator, and she is now the chief scientist at WHO. Tessie Thomas, known as a missile lady. I mean, how would some time back one think that, oh, women can be behind the successful launch of this Agni missile? Or who doesn't know Dr. Kiran Majumdar, the lady who started an industry, the Biocon, which has created a name for itself. Prerna Sharma, she's very young and she's done a lot of work in two-dimensional physics. So there are women working. So I thought I was being asked to share my scientific journey also with you. So I would start with it's very well said that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, which is very true for all of us. So my first brush with science was probably at school. Nature always fascinated me. I come from a small city of Kashmir, and it was in this school where I learned the alphabets of science. But I would like to share with you, what was PhD for me. I didn't know what PhD is. As a small child, I was going in a bus and I was standing. So there was one young lady who was sitting and she offered me, she said, why don't you come and share with me the seat? So she asked me what you are doing. I said, I'd been to the picnic and I'm coming from the same. So as an inquisitive child, I also asked her, I said, what are you doing? So she gave it a thought, and after some time, she said, I'm doing PhD. So I didn't know what that means. I said, what is that? What is a PhD? So to make a school child understand what PhD is, she said, I'm writing a book. Believe me, I said, how can you write a book? I go to the next door in the street to the bookstore and purchase a book I want. And now she's telling me one can write a book in PhD. Believe me, that became the turning point in my life to do PhD, because only thing which was in my mind was, well, if I do PhD, I'll write a book. That is how, that seed of doing PhD was sown within me. And as I moved along in this journey, went to the college, and where really science alphabets literally, were taught to us science. And then when I joined my college, it was those teachers, though they were really there to teach the way they taught us science. And it was then the seeds of, career so-called were sown. And then when I came to my master's, and it was in this botany department, the where doing PhD became a career option to follow. And then I was fortunate enough, I had good mentors, and they took me to this very prestigious institute of Baba Atom Research Center, where I was able to do my PhD work. It's very well said that the only difference between the dream and aim is dream requires effortless sleep, whereas the aim requires sleepless efforts. So we all, my humble request to all the students especially is, sleep for dreams but wake up for your aims. Work from the day one. Whenever you get that awakening, please start working for it. And as I moved along in this trajectory, so after, as you all know, after doing PhD, what is the next? You look for the job, and I was fortunate enough to get into the another good school of life science at JNU, where, when you work independently, it really makes you to think, and it gives you an opportunity to publish. Sometimes there are good days, sometimes there are bad days, but at the same time you become an independent thinker, you learn and you grow. And sometimes what happens, I was doing fine in JNU, I was happy with what I was doing, but how destiny unfolds, no one knows. So there were some my personal health issues, so I had to leave active research. So when I came to the crossroads, and I would like to share that one shouldn't be afraid. Yes, a stage comes to you, you're at the crossroad, which way to go, but take the best road which you think is for you and move on. And then I thought, if I don't publish, in sciences, if you don't publish, you simply perish. So if you don't, at the end of the day, if you don't have the requisite number of publications, you may not be promoted to the next level, or you may be asked to quit. So what is the way out? We have to look for other opportunities. So I thought, let me do a diploma in journalism and mass communication. And if plan A doesn't work, let me have a plan B. So I did journalism and tried to move on. But luckily, when we had an review, and I had a good number of papers, and it went on. So another thing I would like to share with you, all of you, is that you never give up. Attitude is very, very important. Keep doing something or the other. Keep following your dreams. So that alone can take you to the next level. So in between, and it's very, very important in your life, you have your role models. They can be anybody in your life. Like to share my role models with you. This is she's Mrs. Shirley Sharma. She was a mother of my friend, who was more like a friend to me than like an auntie, we would call her. Professor R.C. Sachar, who really taught me how to use a micropipette, how to do science. Then Professor Sopori, he also contributed significantly to my knowledge, to my thought process, how to evolve as a scientist. And when I joined DBT in way back in 2000, it was Dr. Manju Sharma, our former secretary, who taught me how to do management with the human heart. That's very, very important. She said, we are service providers. We need to do our best within the rules and regulations and can help. Wherever you are, we should try to help people to go to the next level. And it's very, very important if you have mentors, you have mentors in your life and they help you to rise and shine. And we should never forget them. We need mentoring at different levels and every step, be it in the form of coaching or in the form of a direction, in the form of a goal setting, goal orientation. If suppose I'm confused, I'll go to my senior, I need your help. And there are people. So we should always, keep them in mind and always recognize their contribution to our goals. It's very, very important. See, you are a good scientist. You may do science in whatever field you are interested, but I'm sure you have certain hobbies and which you should never give up because these hobbies keep you moving. Suppose sometimes what happens, the experiment doesn't work and you feel very low, the results are not coming as expected. Okay, leave it for some time. Do something which is your hobby. That will really help you, that will charge you. Life is an unexpectable. When everything begins to crumble, your hobbies definitely will lift you up. So do something which makes you happy. So when I came to DBT, as I mentioned, patience and perseverance are essentials of life. Very, very important. It was at Department of Biotechnology. I realized if I'm not able to do research, whatever the reason was with me, I had to quit research and look for a desk job. Let me be and let me be a enabler. I started working as a scientific manager where we look at various programs and policy making. Then I thought, okay, let me be a enabler. So as Dr. Gunasekaran mentioned, I have been looking after a large number of programs ever since I have come to DBT, whether it is human resource development, plant biotechnology, bioengineering, societal development programs, where we had a lot of programs on rural biotechnology, women-centric programs. Then under human resource development, I have been supporting a large number of fellowships, awards, master's program, at undergrad level and postgrad level. We have 70 PG programs being supported currently across the country. We have 150 star colleges being supported. We support various fellowships and awards. So at different levels, I have had given my contribution in different areas. So I would urge all of you to look for more. Don't settle in a comfort zone. It looks good, it is beautiful, but nothing ever grows at a place which is stagnant. You need to grow, you need to move, and we need to explore and reach out to new opportunities. See, opportunities are there, but we need to explore, we need to go toward, they will not come to us. It is we have to make an effort to reach out to them. It's well said that opportunities are like sunrises. If you wait too long, you miss them. So don't wait to miss these opportunities. Just explore and try to grab them. So, as mentioned earlier, I had an opportunity to work as a Fulbright Fellow when I was handling a bioenergy program. So that gave another dimension to my work profile. I worked on the second generation biofuels, which was very important at that time. So So the real women, the role of a woman as a scientist, it's multi-dimensional. We really had to do too many things. It's like really this cartoon. I thought it's most apt for a women scientist or a women researcher or a woman as such. She has to really juggle with her at the click of her the ticking clock, whether it is house, the kitchen, she has to take care of the kids, whether it is her home, her office, her everything. She has to really work in this manner, but at the same time she has to be happy with her own self. She really has to balance her work life and family life, where with it is family, career, life, health, friends, everything. It's a very, very important aspect of her life, that where if she has to be happy, she needs to create that kind of environment to keep a balance between the work and the family. And if you say family, it's very, very important. We need to spend quality time with family. It's the love of the family which is the greatest blessing. Families provide an emotional support and strength in good and bad times. I can tell you, share with you, if I could go to BARC right from, I am a small town person from Kashmir, it was all the support of my mother, my family, my father, who's, who besides all the odds said, no, no, we should allow her to go and see, seek her dreams. And sometimes we, there are certain things which we may not be able to share with our family, so who comes to our rescue? It's our friends. So we need to spend quality time with our friends, discuss whatever we would like to. Not only we need to spend time with our friends and family, we need to spend time with our own self. We need to, it's very, very important in a day, maybe for 5 or 10 minutes, you need to speak to yourself. You need to talk to yourself, spend time with yourself, and try to assess where you are, what you want to do, where you want to go to the in the next level. Well, sometimes you may feel all alone and low, but one shouldn't be stressed. Even nature has a lot to teach us. So I thought, being a botanist, I have a fascination for plants. So I thought I'll share a few next slides with you, what we learn from nature. See, obstacles are a part of life. We all know since we grow. I mean, they could be of different types. Some unexpected obstacles can be beautiful or even delicious. Initially we find it's an obstacle, but as we move along in this trajectory, we feel, oh, that was a good thing happened in my life. Had this not happened, I would not have thought in this dimension. Suppose what happens if an experiment doesn't work, A plan. So you try to think through hard and try other methods, A, B, C, whatever. And then you are able to get success. Then you realize, oh, I never thought about this. It was good. I had my experiment didn't work this way, so I tried other alternative methods. So unexpected obstacles can be beautiful. They can help us in growing. You know, we always compare. I would urge all of you not to compare yourself with anybody. Yes, but you need to compare yourself with yourself. What I was last year, have I improved upon myself? In whatever way you think deemed fit. So you say, oh, this is a small growth. I remember once my daughter had some 97% marks and she was third in the school. And there was a difference of point 0.2, point 0.4, and point 0.6. When she came home and she was very sulking, I said, what happened? No, I'm third in the class, while as the difference was small. Doesn't matter. These things are going to happen. A little progress every day makes a difference in our lives. So take everything in a positive stride and move on. And very important is you need to look for opportunities. You might have seen plants, if you keep a plant in the dark, I'm sure many of you who are in the life sciences, they would have done this experiment in the school in your 12th or 10th. If you put them in a dark box and there is a one hole, the seed tries to see the light and moves towards the direction. So my point here is to say that you should look for the opportunities. They are there. Just grab those opportunities, reach for the light where you can find it and take that, grab that opportunity. Very important to know. See, there are many things which we cannot do alone. It's very important that we can work in groups. See, today's this seminar has been possible because of the effort of every one of you who has made it happen in such a short notice. So the strengths of a team is an each individual member, and the strength of each member is this team. So we have to work in coexistence. So we don't have to go alone for anything. Very, very important in life is to find our focus by seeking all that is good in our lives. We need to have an eye on our goals. Very important. Yes, impossible. I am possible. It's very well said. It was, I remember, long back when there was Bruce Albert was a king. So he saw this ant going up and down 10 times and still falling down. Then he realized, no, if this ant can go 10 times, why can't I? And he won the battle. Same way, success is not final. Failures are not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So we need to deal with the failures. Doesn't matter if I failed once. We need to believe our own selves, which is very important. Every experience teaches us something or the other, whether it's a good or bad, but every experience is worth it. So learn from your each experience. Learn from you. You can learn from your juniors, you can learn from your seniors. Everywhere there's a learning. We should look for those things. And both experiences are worth it. So the most important rule of success to me is we need to believe in our own selves, which is the secret of our success. Because very no matter what others say, I need to believe in myself. And meaning of success is very relative. To someone, it's buying a car, buying a good house, or getting a good fat salary. But to someone, it is like helping someone just in crossing a road. He gets a lot of satisfaction. In fact, during these pandemic days, you would have seen many people have helped unknown people with their food packets, with water, with whatever they could do it. So success looks different to everyone, and we should also look at it in the same manner. What success means to me is more important than what success it means to the other person. Or somebody will say, oh, he's getting very less salary, but you may be happy with what you are doing. So it's very relative. Yes, to succeed, one has to work hard, one has to get dirty, which is a part of it. We need to work hard, get into the nitty-gritties of a problem or a research question you are asking. We need to understand it thoroughly, means get into the crux of it. So that is very important if one has to succeed. Well, as I said, nothing is impossible. You can have anything if you are willing to work for it. Yes, the hard work is the only solution to it. We don't have to let any unsuccessful human convince us otherwise, because many times, I can tell you, we had a friend of ours who was a journalist, and when I happened to write, I said, "Oh, let me write an article for the newspaper." So the first reaction was, "Who's going to read your article?" So that was very disheartening, but I didn't say anything to this gentleman. I wrote an article and submitted to the Hindustan Times, and eventually it got published. And subsequently, during that time, I happened to write a series of articles for these national dailies. And one fine morning, the same gentleman picks up a phone, calls me. He says, "Hey, you are these days on the road." That change is perfect. See, why I'm trying to give you this example is, you do whatever you want to do, it will change the perception of people. There are people, they will not support you, they will pull you down, but just don't listen to them. Listen to your own inner conscious, because it is, you're answerable first to yourself than to any other person. So if you want to be successful, you must respect one rule, which is never lie to yourself. As I mentioned earlier, you're answerable to yourself. So be truthful to yourself and commit to the constant and never ending improvements. Don't compare yourself with others, because everything's very relative. You need to compare yourself with your own self. Suppose what I did last year, was I at level 5, or this year am I at 6 or 5.5 or 7, whatever the case may be. Constant improvements in your own self is very important if you really want to succeed. And there is a leader in everyone, each one of us. So what we need to do is to just explore it. It's who will explore it is your actions, which will create a legacy, and that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more. Then you are an excellent leader. I'm sure each one of you will think about it, and always, no matter what you do, where you have reached, you are at the highest pinnacle of your life. Always be humble and kind. true achievements come to those who stay humble and despite success. It's my request to you as young, especially the young students who are listening to this, you got to be humble and always be kind. Even if you're not able to help every time, but at least you can listen to the person. Maybe sometimes even listening helps, and it that agony or whatever that rough time he or she is going through, help through, be kind and express yourself. The most important thing, what happens many times, we never speak out. It is our cultural, when we grew up, I remember as a girl child, it was always said, you should, youngsters, you are not supposed to speak when elders speak. Then it used to be always a monologue. So we have most of us have grown in the culture of, this monologue. But when today's children, they ask me, we need to talk, we need to explain to each other. So we need to express. We don't have to impress upon, but we need to express our thoughts, our feelings. If my senior tells me or my teacher tells you an experiment to do, and he has a certain kind of thought process about a particular experiment, but you feel it may not work better than you have certain ideas, please do express yourself. We all work for a cause, not for an applause. That is very, very important for all of us to understand. The most important message today from to all the youngsters is, you got to stay strong. The most important thing in life is you need to give up giving up. Sometimes my experiment doesn't work, sometimes my fellowship is not through, I didn't get a particular job, and we lose our heart, we give up. Oh, I'm not going to make it, it's not going to happen. Please give up giving up. These are very simple words, but they have a lot of deep meaning. Understand this meaning of give up giving up. So I thought I'll share various, these links with you of different funding agencies where you can browse through and see what is the best fit available for you, so that you can apply for a particular fellowship or a particular award or whatever you feel deemed fit. And this is your life is a gift of God. Whatever the conditions, you must go on, strive for the best. And thank you to all of you.